What we do is every time that somebody want to work at Colors, we will submit his resume to a board of Colors. They will look at it and they will decide if it is a position that's open at Colors and that needs to be filled. Now, there is another aspect at Colors which we call the sweat equity, because the members didn't invest real money. We ask them to volunteer for 100 hours in all the social activities that we organize. Once they do that, you know, they are put on a list, and when the position open, they are called and they have 6 months probation. But it is all decided by the workers.
The Sunset Park co-ops all start out with founding members who really are the ones that develop the structure. Now and that typically starts out pretty small. Now once those members feel like there's enough demand and work for more than those workers, so then they decide to open it up, and then there's a very specific probation period that the new people have to go through, and it's been about 8 to 10 weeks long with training and sort of discussing what the structure entails and what the investment means and all of that, so it's pretty structured.
How are the businesses doing now, just financially, or, you know, now being a few years in, you know, what's been the impact so far socially or economically, both for your members and, you know, and if you have a sense of this, for the communities where your members live or where your businesses are based?
Well, for the members in Si Se Puede, I can say that there's been a huge increase in wages versus what kind of jobs they were doing before. So it's been a tremendous help for their families, of course. And I can also say, just anecdotally, that they have really developed a lot of leadership skills, emotionally and sort of, you know, socially. They've been doing a lot better in terms of relating with new people, networking, and really been able to talk about what they're doing. So it's been an impact, I think, in Sunset Park, definitely.
Bueno, ahorita en toda la semana trabajo. De hecho, hay veces días que hago 2 trabajos al día. Y pues al día vengo sacando como 120 hasta 140. Entonces, y cuando trabajo 2 trabajos, entonces pues saco más, como lo que yo ganaba antes. Antes ganaba 8 la hora, entonces tenía que yo trabajar 10 horas para que yo pudiera sacar $80. Entonces, para mí estoy muy contenta con mi cooperativa y la forma que ha crecido.
Yeah, for Colors, I would say that the business has been really difficult lately, but we are very resourceful. This is the reason why, in coordination with Colors, we came up with the idea of using the space as a training school in daytime. And now we're turning it into a banquet hall, because the wage was getting really high, and the workers decided it would be better to turn Colors into a banquet hall. When there is a business, you know, all the workers are called to work. And it seems like this was what was working, because we have a lot of nonprofit organizations having the fundraising, the breakfast, you know, the lunches, birthday parties, all those things are going on at Colors, and it is very good to run.
And what is the wage that your workers/owners make in these cooperatives?
Yeah, we started at $13.50 an hour, which is, our studies have shown that this is a livable wage in New York City. And when the business didn't go as much as we thought it will be, the workers decided through the board to bring it down to $9.45, which is still more than $2 above the minimum wage.
Yeah, of course, one of the goals was to develop businesses that would create living wage jobs. And so with the Si Se Puede Women's Cleaning Cooperative, many of the members had been making maybe $7 to $9 an hour working at factories or doing cleaning jobs. And now, amazingly, I can say that they're making an average of $20 an hour. They do charge per job and not per hour, so they don't feel pressured to finish at a certain time. And then the nannies and Beyond Care are definitely making living wage jobs, you know, with full-time and part-time work as well.
So both of your cooperatives, or in both of your cases, there was a strong, sort of stable nonprofit, supporting and incubating the worker cooperative businesses. Gowri, is someone who's worked with these and other cooperatives, is that the normal way these get started? Or there, is a nonprofit sponsor necessary or recommended, or are there other models where different workers themselves come together and start a cooperative?
Sure, I think there are certainly other models where the workers themselves will come together and start the cooperatives that way. The ones that we've seen have mostly been incubated by a nonprofit or some other type of organization. In this case, ROC, Center for Family Life. There's also Green Workers Cooperatives. It's a nonprofit whose mission is to incubate cooperatives in the South Bronx that are based on green principles. And so their first cooperative, which we also were able to provide legal support to, was Rebuilder Source, and that was up in the Bronx. I think it's really it's been important for those co-ops to have had that type of support and people that are rooted in the community in a place that can help and provide them the other types of supports that they need, because a lot of times in immigrant communities and low-wage communities, there are so many other factors that go into just being able to up and start your own business, and you don't have access to those resources. And in a lot of ways, the nonprofits kind of act as an anchor to be able to provide those co-ops that kind of support that they need to then be able, I think especially for Center for Family Life and for ROC, to be able to then grow and to sort of push off and do their own thing.
My question then is sort of, as these, as the larger nonprofit organization that's helping get these started, that's providing the initial financial and organizing support, how do you ensure that you're supporting these fledgling cooperatives, but also ensuring that they're truly cooperative, that they're democratically run by the members? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're very, very transparent and clear with the co-op members from the onset that we are there to support them. Like Gowri was mentioning, I think one of the things that have made it possible for these co-ops to really develop is that the center has been able to support them with overhead costs that maybe they wouldn't have been able to cover on their own. And really the investment from the beginning was the time, like I was mentioning. And so for us, I think that being clear that we're consultants to them, that we're supporters, that we're there to provide resources really makes a difference. And really the community organizing strategy and really getting them to understand that this is their business that they're developing. Without them, it wouldn't be happening. So we do have definitely boundaries that are set and sort of clear about what we do and what they do. And that eventually they would venture off into their own independent business once they would be ready in terms of the financial aspect of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you guys are a little different because Colors has been an independent entity from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's still the similar issues where the staff of ROC that was involved, had to make sure that the workers themselves were making the decisions about whether to open the restaurant, all the decisions around where to locate and so forth. Did you find that there was a challenge getting the workers to take on that responsibility and not defer to ROC staff?
Yeah, it was. We have to say that we had a lot of challenges. It is challenging in recruitment. It is challenging on how the workers will themselves run the meetings. In the beginning, we always had a co-op organizer, somebody who would be running the meetings for the workers. And when they started to work together, it was something really different. We wanted to let them run their own meeting. It was somehow difficult, but thanks God now we through that process. It is, the workers understand now because they are, like I said, in the board we have 13 members of Colors board. Out of the 13 members, 8 are workers and 5 investors. So the majority of the decision-making power belongs to the workers, and that's how they feel empowered and to make decisions that will ultimately, define the success of, Colors as a restaurant.
And as part of what you guys are trying to do is not just provide, a couple of cooperatives that are helping those members get a living wage, but also maybe create a model for the industry at large. Is that part of the thinking or part of the goals of the co-op?
Yes, definitely. I mean, for us, we've always seen it as a bigger vision of not only helping to develop cooperatives in Sunset Park, but really creating networks with other co-ops in New York, participating in national conferences for worker-owner co-ops, so that we're able to really think about, how can we make that community that's run by co-ops, like hopefully like in Italy, and really be able to exchange services, share, have mutual aid, and really think about those principles and take them in. So.